Greetings, everyone, and welcome to First Thoughts on a Friday. My first thoughts are going to go back before our gospel lesson for this day. I'll talk about that tomorrow. But for now, let's go back to the book of Acts. Yeah, Testy Tuesday, when we talk about the first lesson that we're going to read on Sunday, it's going to come from Acts. It has all during the Easter season rather than an Old Testament passage. And we're going to be in the first chapter. We've been further into the book of Acts. Now we're going all the way back to chapter 1, because this is a very important aspect of what's happening for the disciples. Now, we need to know a little bit of what's happening in the book of Acts. We're going to be reading from the last part of the first chapter. So how does it all begin? It begins with Jesus with his disciples, encouraging them and basically saying that the promise of the Spirit is coming, but they are to go and stay in Jerusalem until that promised Spirit does come. And then Jesus ascends out of their sight. He's gone. All right? So you have there a little bit of background. Now, the question I have for you is in a little more background leading up to our passage for this coming Sunday. And that is, how many people were in that upper room? You want me to give you a couple numbers? Okay, I will. 11, 12, more than 12. The correct answer is more than 12. It says in that upper room, so you might have thought 11 because Judas killed himself, hung himself. Nope, that's not it. Up there in that upper room were the 11 and certain women, including Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Jesus' brothers too. There were a lot of people. Now, isn't it interesting? The women are now being included amongst the disciples, as well as Jesus' brothers. Yeah, and Jesus' mom. This is pretty interesting. Now, then it goes on to talk a little bit about Judas and that Judas hung himself, but it gives a reference to David, who says, hey, this was talked about by David in the Psalms. Interesting. So we have that there. But here's the deal. Now they are facing a dilemma, and this is part of our lesson for this Sunday. It's a very short, just a couple verses long. And Peter says, hey, you know what? Jesus chose 12 of us. There's only 11. We need 12, because I have a feeling that once that Spirit comes, we got to be doing stuff. And we need 12 people to be leaders amongst us. So who are we going to get? Well, in that group of people who were in that upper room, there were two that they decided to choose from. One whose name was Justus, and the other one, Matthias. And Peter said, anybody got a coin? And he flipped the coin, and it came up Matthias. There you go. Now, they prayed first. Come on. Yeah. No, seriously. They cast lots. Basically, they flipped a coin. Oh, incredible, isn't it? It's wondrous how God's Spirit works. But what's really interesting about this passage is you might at first be tempted to say, hey, you know, Jesus told those disciples to wait in Jerusalem till the coming Spirit, the promise of the Spirit, was poured out upon them. You know what? You might be saying, they just went ahead and started doing their own thing. But they didn't. They were still there in Jerusalem waiting for the promise of the Spirit. And I think what they were saying is, you know what? Jesus told us to go and spread this good news to the ends of the earth. So we need to be getting ready to do that. So they were just preparing for the coming of the Spirit. I really, truly believe that. They weren't doing things out of order. They prayed about it. They flipped the coin. Matthias won, and I'm sure Justus fit in there somewhere along the way, because a lot of people would be spreading that good news that Jesus is alive, and Jesus promises to you and to me that gift of his Spirit, the gift of his love, the gift of life. All right. Just kind of a cool story in the book of Acts, an interesting one. But when it comes to your church council election, please don't go flipping coins. Okay? God's blessings be with you.